Okay, hello everybody. This is Charlie Dobbins, and this is another group coaching call. This time we're going to be talking about market information, where to find it, what to do with it, when you get it, why you need it. That's the key. You might think to yourself, well, yeah, I just want to know what's going on in my marketplace. No, remember, you're in sales. You've got to sell your deal, and part of selling your deal is understanding the product, and part of the product is knowing your market. So that's why you're going to be using this information. And I'm going to show you how to get it, why you need it, and where you're going to put it. Didn't sound right. I know Bob Bryanton right now is laughing. Okay, let me kill this here. All right, so, but before we get started, what I want to do is give you a little bit of housekeeping. I kind of want to give you an overview. I'm trying to be very, very organized this year. And just kind of give you an overview of what we're going to be doing in February. And what I want you to be doing in February is, of course, making offers, evaluating deals. That's the action that you can control. You cannot control somebody else accepting your offer. The only thing you can control is making the offer. So don't put this in the back burner. Start doing a little bit every day and start making offers. So we've got the 2 group coaching calls this month coming up in February. It's going to be February 2nd and then February 19th. Note the times, 4 p.m. I think I kind of vary those throughout the course of the year. Sometimes we'll do it earlier. I know that there are people on the West Coast, and this is kind of hard for them. And sometimes we'll do it later. And people on the East Coast like myself, that's hard for us. But in February, we're keeping everything right at 4 p.m. I'm going to keep it kind of concentrated. February 2nd, we're going to do a question and answer with one of my clients who's a multifamily investor, obviously, and we're going to talk to him, and it's going to be an open line. You can ask any question you want. How did he get started? Where did he get his money? How's it going so far? And I've got a couple of different clients that I'm going to approach and see if they're interested in doing this. I'm sure they would love to talk to other new investors and tell them all the good, the bad, and the ugly of this business. But just to get you prepared and really to build up your confidence in this business so that you know what to do. The second thing, on the 19th, we're going to be talking about preparing for the sharks. Now what we're talking about today as far as market data is going to be used in the conversation on the 19th regarding preparing for the sharks. Now, when I talk about sharks, I'm talking about not just the banks, or if you're dealing with some type of an investment fund. I'm talking about just your regular investor that you have to sit down across the table from and sell the deal to. What do you need to do to prepare for that conversation? I know that whenever we were pitching a deal to one of our investors, we always went to one particular investor first. He was a ball buster. And we wanted him to rip the deal apart. And after we got through with him, everyone else was easy. But he asked the toughest, most probing questions that we had better have made sure that we knew what the answers were, or we would look ridiculous. And so that's what the February 19th coaching call is going to be about, is preparing for the sharks. Now, February 9th, we're going to do the offer writing workshop. If you have a property that you're trying to evaluate or you don't know what to do with, and you want to see how I take that property package from the very beginning, you just sending it to me. I'll even open it up right there live on air, and I will start to evaluate that deal with you, and so that you can see how I take it from the opening of the property package all the way to the drafting of the offer. And if you're working on any particular deal, shoot it on over to me, info@multifamilyinvestingacademy.com, and I will make sure that deal gets looked at during the offer writing workshop. Now, what we're also going to be doing is what I'm calling, on the 21st, I'm going to be sending out a blog post to everybody regarding what I'm calling the soft rollout of our new program, the Owner's Forum. I had alluded to it on a previous call. We've kind of mapped it out a little bit more. We now have a better understanding of what we can offer, what we need to offer in order to help investors get to their first deal. And so that will be coming out on the 21st. It's a soft rollout. It's going out to everybody, but it's really only available to those people that are in my Master Class Elite program right now, which, of course, you are them. because you need to be in this Masterclass Elite program for at least 3 months before you're even invited into the Owners Forum. It is not for everybody. I don't want to just make this available to, there's got to be a learning process. You've got to see how I operate. I want to make sure that it's right for you, and if that matches up, then you can be invited into the Owners Forum. So watch the February 21st for that blog post. Now, let's talk about market research. All right, what do you need to know? And basically, in a nutshell, you're going to need to know everything about the market that your property is in. And that means both on a micro and a macro level. All right? So what you have to do is picture yourself going for that PhD doctoral thesis, and you're sitting across the table from 5 other instructors, and they're quizzing you on everything about that particular property, that particular deal that you're trying to raise money for. You have to understand, when you know the market information inside and out, it's going to make the raising of the money that much easier. And so in order to do that, you better be able to speak knowledgeably on both the microeconomics of the deal and the macroeconomics. So let's talk for a moment here about what the macroeconomics look like. What we're really talking about here are things like, first off, job growth. All right, if jobs are coming into a market, then that is where, remember, those are your customers. You sell products to those people. They are coming into that town, and they need to buy your product. If nobody's coming into your town, you don't have any customers. That's why you see most of the growth and all the the money is now starting to move towards the south of the country, southeast, southwest, because people are migrating to those areas. The baby boomers are getting older. They don't like the cold weather. They can't live in New York City anymore. Think about that. There's so many New Yorkers who have lived there all their life, and the day after they retire, they can't afford to live in their neighborhood anymore because the taxes are so high. So they start to move south. So you're starting to see, and the easiest way to determine the migration of people is by looking at the congressional seats. Who's losing congressional seats? Who's gaining congressional seats? Now, that doesn't necessarily translate all the time into job growth. It does most likely, it more than often does. But that's when we start talking about the submarket and making sure that the jobs are moving into that particular submarket. Because even New Mexico, that's down the southwest, but man, there's nothing there, and job growth in New Mexico is stagnant, if not down to nothing. So don't think because New Mexico is in the southwest, people are just moving there and there are tons of jobs. It's not like that. You've got to find those marketplaces where the census is telling you that people are moving there, but also the jobs are moving as well. Now, housing starts. What you can do to figure out the housing starts is by looking at the building permits. I'm going to, at the end of this video, at the end of this little presentation, I'm going to show you about 7 places on the internet to find all this information, and you all should be signed up with these 7 places. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, geez, how do I find building permits? How do I find housing starts? Don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. Right now, I just want you to understand what the building permits mean. Now, from the housing start standpoint, what it means is that you're going to see, new houses being built. What does that mean to somebody buying apartments? Well, what that tends to mean, or could potentially mean, is that more and more people have the ability now to move into single-family homes. That might hurt your rental market because your customers are now able to buy homes. And I can tell you, folks, right now in certain areas, like right now in southern Michigan, where I own property, this is a huge problem. There's a huge problem because it's not an area that has any type of job growth. So we are fighting the landlords in that marketplace are fighting over the same shrinking pie. And so therefore, the people who have homes or that are renting out homes are doing it a lot more successfully than somebody like me who's got an apartment. People prefer to live in a 3-bedroom apartment if they can pay the same rent that they would in a 2-bedroom, garden style. And that's the issue that we're having. So when you're looking at the housing starts, you want to think to yourself, if there's going to be a lot of new homes being built, how is that going to have a shadow effect on all of my apartment units? New units being built, okay? What's in the pipeline? How many new ones are being built? And when are they being delivered? Now, don't be fooled. What you might think is that looking at this economic information, if an area has a lot of new apartment starts, and there's a lot in the pipeline, you might think to yourself, well, the smart money is building apartments in that area, so that must be a really good area. We should move there. Okay, let's put that that box of information in context. Think about it this way. And this is actually a true story. I found this out in Seattle when I was speaking out in Seattle. An architect in the office in the audience came up and said, "You know that by third quarter of 2014, there will be 14,000 new units going online in Seattle. New apartment units, 14,000." I thought, oh my gosh, I wouldn't buy anything in Seattle right now. I mean, even the secondary markets of Seattle would be questionable right now. Because think about what happens from a consumer standpoint. What do your customers do? What happens to the marketplace when 14,000 new units come online? All right, so what type of units are going to come online? Class A property. Nobody builds 14,000 new Class C units. When you build a unit, it is a new Class A. So when you have Class A property, who goes to live in the Class A's? All the Class A residents. What happens to those existing units that have now just lost their A-class residents to the new construction, the 14,000 new constructions? Those properties, formerly A, are now B's. Well, what happens to the C's? What happens to the B's? They become C's. And the C's become D's. And that's what happens. People will fly to the, it's almost a sort of flight to safety, but it's a flight to quality, really. People start to move where their dollars can buy them more, and that's in the A. So all of those A-class properties that were there before are now B's. And all of the B's are now C's. So if you were out there in Seattle just looking to buy a property right now, and you're looking, hey, this is a beautiful B-class property. Well, in the next couple of years, through absolutely no fault of your own, that B-class property will soon become a C once those 14,000 units get fully occupied. So that's what you've got to think of when you look at new units being built. Don't necessarily think that's, hey, great, smart money is going in there. Yeah, you're right. Smart money is going in there with low cap rates and very high quality properties. But those people behind them are going to suffer. And unless you're the guy building the new units and you're the guy buying the C-class, you're going to have trouble. So those are some of the things you want to think about from a macro level. When you're sitting across the table from one of the leaders, well, I knew that was going to happen, as it always does. When you are sitting across the table from that new investor, the person you're looking to have invest his IRA money in, you had better be able to talk knowledgeably about what's going on in that marketplace from a macro level. Now, what I did is here, I just threw in here. Let me see if I can find. Let me get my whoops. Let me just find my I can't find my hold on, let me pull it up here. There we go. So if anybody has any questions, or if you have yeah, wise guy, let's see. Stay out of Asheville. Yeah, I'll stay out of Asheville. Okay, so anybody has any other types of properties that, well, or other types of factors that you want to talk about from a macro standpoint, or even now, as you can see, from a micro standpoint, just fill it out in the question box, and I'll address it. So let's talk for a moment now about the micro level. Now this gets down to the sub-market. All right, every major MSA has a sub-market. Don't think that you can look at one particular major MSA, like Atlanta, and say, well, the vacancy rate in Atlanta is 8%. That's wrong. You've got to look at the sub-market that you're buying in. And every one of these, well, most of these reports that I'm going to share with you in a moment, they all give you the information about the sub-rate, the sub-market. So you will know what's going on in your sub-market. But you, sitting in front of that investor, had better understand what that sub-market is doing. And the types of things that you're going to look at are things like the vacancy rate. Every sub-market's vacancy rate is significantly different. So you've got to go in there when you're looking at the rent rolls of your property while you're doing the due diligence, and you're looking at that number for your rent roll had better match up very closely to the sub-market vacancy rate that you have from your market reports. If it's way out of kilter, either too high or too low, that's a problem. Too low, you know why. The guy's probably not running the property too well. But if it's too high and you're doing your due diligence, you've got to ask yourself the question, why is this property so much higher in the marketplace than everybody else from an occupancy standpoint? Why is their occupancy so much better? Is he giving things away? Is he offering concessions? Is he doing the right credit and criminal background check? Is he making sure that these are good customers that will soon become your customers? So those are the types of things when you look at the sub-market, you've got to understand. Same with the delinquency rate. Delinquency rate translates into the economic vacancy, translates into collections. You want to know, how well do people collect the money in this marketplace? Are these people all deadbeats, or do they all pay on time? That type of information is important. Now, the other thing is the absorption rate. Now, this is really, first of all, let me explain what absorption rate is. It's how quickly new units or units that are ready for lease can get leased up in that marketplace. If it's a hot market, it's going to take a couple of weeks, maybe a month. If it's a tough market, those units might sit on the market on an average of 90 days before they get leased. That number is your absorption rate. That tells you how quickly you're going to be able to get money in the door for all of your vacant units. In other words, don't think for a second that you're taking over a property that's 70% occupied and the market is at 90. And if you run this thing correctly, you'll get this thing up to 90. The question is, how quickly will you get this thing up to 90? In a month? Oh, really? Where are you getting that information from? If the market absorption rate says it takes 3 months for you to lease a unit, do the math and map out all of those units and figure out how long is it going to take me to fill up this whole property. To go from 70 to 90, when everything is running perfectly, it still might take you a year. So you've got to understand the absorption rate. And now a very smart investor sitting across from the table from you will ask you that question, most likely to trip you up. So you had better know what's going on in that market when it comes to the absorption rate. Now the other thing is the rent growth. What's going on in that market for rental rates? Are they going up? Are they coming down? If they're going up, how quickly are they going up? And can that be sustained? That's another thing you want to think about. If you're looking at some of these economic indicators, some of these market research reports, and it's telling you in a particular submarket that the rental growth in that market is 4%, and I've seen this. I've looked at a couple of market reports recently where the rental growth was 4%. And now you have to sit in front of one of your smart investor friends. Don't base your prediction, your finances, your pro forma on the fact that you'll have a 4% per year growth in the rental rates, because that is, I can tell you right now, unsustainable. It won't be able, unless they're taking units off the market faster than they can put them on, maintaining a 4% market growth on your rental rates is unattainable. So don't sit in front of a very smart investor and say, oh, but our rents are going to go up 4% every year for the next 20 years. He's going to look at you and think like, well, thank you, but I'll pass. I don't think you have a realistic understanding of how this business operates. So make sure you understand when you see something as rosy as that, 4% market increase, don't think right away that that is just that's going to be sustained for the rest of the time that you own the property. Okay, I had a little bit of water. Now, the next thing, what I want to talk to you about here is what you need to know about your submarkets. You know, in a nutshell, the deals are made or they're lost by understanding your submarket. All right, now what I mean by that is not so much in having the knowledge of the submarket to raise money, but having the knowledge of the submarket to buy correctly. If you don't understand that submarket that you're buying in, a seller can pull the wool over your eyes so quickly. So you better be a great student of that particular submarket. And some of the best people that give you this information are cops, building inspectors, construction workers, guys who own contractors out there. I'll tell you, some of the information I found out, boy, there was a place in, where the heck was it? Okay, let me give you two examples. The first one was in Fort Worth, Texas. There is a section of Fort Worth that has a particular neighborhood name to it, like Wildwood or something Wood. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, just type it in the question block and you'll know, and refresh my memory as to what it's called. But if you are looking for a property in this particular marketplace, in this submarket, you would be able to find phenomenal deals. You would be able to find sellers that are giving you just financing terms, seller financing terms that they just want you to buy this property. They want out so badly. And if you look at it, if you're new to the market, you might think to yourself, well, geez, why is this going on? I'll take these deals all day long. This is fantastic. Well, what you don't understand is that that particular neighborhood in Fort Worth was built up back in the late 70s, early 80s. And there were about there were actually more than that. There was about 1,600 apartment units in a very tight area in this neighborhood. 1,600 apartment units. The thing about those apartment units that you need to understand is that these properties were being built at a time when the demographics showed that most of the people looking for apartments were single people. So there are 60% of the units in this marketplace, in this submarket, are one bedrooms. Now that translates into a huge problem for most people. You cannot, unless you have single people that are looking to move in, or maybe, a single mother with a kid, you don't have enough customers to fill that product mix that you've just bought into. And unless you knew the market ahead of time, you would never have been able to figure that out. And the problem is that all of those sellers who are giving you great sweetheart deals, they found out that information the hard way. So this is the type of market data you need to know about the submarket that you're working in. All right, another one, and I don't mean to speak derogatorily about any ethnic group. All right, there is a section in Lexington, Kentucky that they call Mexington, Mexington, very Hispanic area. 1,300 apartment units on the same street. When you hear the brokers want to take you down to this street and they start offering you sweetheart deals with seller financing galore, you got to look to yourself and say, wait a minute, I can't compete against all these other owners when there are 1,300 virtually identical units all on the same street. That street's only about a quarter-mile long. But that is the marketplace that you're looking at. Now, these guys are going to come at you because they want out. And in order for them to get out, they've got to create a sweetheart deal. And when they create a sweetheart deal, they bring in, stupid money. And unfortunately, a lot of times that's going to be you. And that's what I don't want to have happen. Don't be that guy that doesn't understand the submarket and doesn't understand what they're buying into. All right, so that's why deals are made or lost here, not just from finding investment money, but from an operational standpoint as well. You've got to understand your submarket. All right, now let's take you through. Let's see here. Where do you get this information? Now, I'm going to change my setup here a little bit because I need to go right over here to my computer. I'm going to show you. Obviously, I record all these calls. This one is being recorded right now. So if you need to find out, if you need to get back to this information or you want to find out what these websites are, you can download or hit the recording. What I'm going to do here is, but my advice to you is if you want to get this information right away, make sure that you take good notes because I'm going to give you some pretty good websites that you can look at. Now, let me just click on over here. Now, okay. First one I want you to check out is Burkeadia. This is Hendricks Burkeadia. This is, I believe, this is Warren Buffett's new operation. Now, note the web address here. It is not Burkeadia.com. What you want to go to is Burkeadia, REA.com. Burkeadia Real Estate Advisors.com. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to come to this page and you're going to click on the company overview, scroll on down to the National Apartment Research Center, click on that, and I'm going to have you click on the market reports right here. All right, so here are the market reports. If you want to find out anything about your particular marketplace, this is the place to go. All right, here's the annual review. Let me see. It's gonna, yeah. So it's not giving. So we can view it online. But the other thing too, folks, is I actually have in my hand their 2015 forecast. This information is gold. This is the type of information that you're going to put into your offering memorandum to help investors understand what's so good about the market that you're recommending that they buy in. So here is one place where you can find some great market information. Make sure that you sign up for these email notifications. You're in the business. Start getting this information. It's not all about finding the deals, though that is 90% of the problem. It's also understanding the market that these deals are in, because you're acting as a broker. I know it sounds kind of strange, but just think about it. What your job is to find the deal and find the money and then match the two of them up. And that's essentially what a broker does. So you need to understand all aspects of the deal in order to make this happen. So that's Burkeadia. Now let me show you another website that they also provide a great document. It's called Viewpoint. This is IRR.com. Ichabod radar.com. When I start doing it that way, everybody knows I was never in the service. Okay, so this is the report that you want to get. Download it now, and then also you want to sign up for these guys because they will send you this particular report in the mail when it comes out every year. It is fantastic. So Burkeadia, I think, is, somebody may correct me on this one, but I think Burkeadia is actually trying to mimic what IRR is doing. IRR they do appraisals. I've seen them do a lot of bank appraisals, a lot of property appraisals, and so this information is coming not from a particular broker, but actually from an appraisal company. Great stuff, really fantastic information. Definitely make sure you check that out. Okay, next one, of course, is Marcus and Millichap. Now, let me show you how to find their information. You're going to come up here to Research, and look over here on the latest reports. You're going to get, let me check out our latest national and regional apartment reports. Now, the thing that you really want to do with these guys is, let me see if I can find it, because they have a webcast that they do every single year, probably I think at the end of the year. It's kind of tricky how to find. No, that's okay. It's kind of tricky how to find it. You've got to look for past. You go into research. You got to look for past events. And when you find the past events, that's how you know you're going to find the Marcus and Millichap webcast. But you want to sign up for that webcast, and here's what happens. You listen to, everybody in the business listens to that webcast. It is good stuff. And when you listen to that webcast, you will pick up great information that you will be able to use in your presentation to your investors. And when you do, you will sound like an absolute genius. All right, so that is what you definitely want to do. It's not coming up for me, and I apologize, but I think I might need to be logged in, because then you really, once you log in, then you're going to be able to get a lot more information. So you want to sign up for their webcast notification. It comes out, they do a quarterly webcast, and they also do the annual webcast that everybody listens to. So you want to make sure that you sign up for that Marcus and Millichap webcast. Now, one other, and remember the website here is marcusmillichap.com. It's Marcus and Millichap, but the website does not have the ampersand. Okay, TREP. Now let's talk about TREP. TREP is a little bit more highbrow. A little bit, it costs more money to sign up with TREP, but you can get some great information from TREP. I think you might be able to get some free reports. So when you're finally looking to get that information about that particular marketplace, you might want to go online and check it out with TREP. You can also check out as you can see, they break it down by commercial mortgage-backed securities, commercial real estate, bank analytics from our analysts, and then the research. And here's some great research. All this information is all stuff that you can download right away. These guys talk a lot about banks, and they talk a lot about the properties as well, the CMBS properties. So make sure that you, as you can see here, you can find out market trends, CRE market trends. There's so many places, because what you're going to do is you're going to get this information, and then you're going to, let's see, is that Dallas? I know Dallas is way up there. See if it's going to give it to me. Okay, so yeah, they give you some information about the loans. All right, so multifamily. I want to click on multifamily. So you can take a look at this, and you can see in multifamily that the CRE loans, they're 868. The debt coverage ratio is 2.04. That's pretty good, with 25% LTV. 73% LTV or 25% down. 4.66 is the average rate, and very few delinquents, less than 1% delinquents. So that's really, that's telling you that Dallas is a very strong marketplace right now. That's the type of information you're going to need to know when you sit down and talk to your investors. Trep.com is the website that you want to use. Now, here's another one. This one's great. I really like this one because it really breaks it down by properties. Hold on. I think they're going to give you some reports for free, the Island reports. But this is Pierce Island, and what you want to do is, let's take a look at some of these things. Market conditions review, Island reports, Island forecast. I'm just having a little trouble with my screen here. Let's take a look at our markets. Let's say that we're looking in the southeast. Let's say we're looking for in the Charlotte marketplace. We actually shouldn't be looking at Asheville right now. Oh, look at Charleston is new. Yay, Charleston. So let's take a look at the Charlotte market, see what Pierce Island gives us. This website is Ichabod.com. So just the first two letters of the name. And here is, let's see if we can get some of this information. I can show you one because of Pierce Island Reports. If you can get some information from Pierce Island, it's just great stuff. Markets in this region. Let's check on Charlotte. And of course it just sits here. They look at every single property, 50 units or more, and they show you everything. They go right down to who owns the property, and they'll even tell you the guy's phone number as well. So as you can see here, what's new? Apartment-related information data. Here's apartment market conditions in Charlotte. Just great stuff. Let's see if it's going to ask me for money. Let's take a look here. Oh, come on, brother. Of course it all gets hung up. Here we go. Well, here are the rental rates, and it'll tell you, what the high and the low for 1-bedroom, 2 bedrooms. Completed sales in the last 60 days, 5 properties for 1,815 units in the last year to year. So as you can see, they're selling more now. 34% increase in properties sold. New construction. So this, believe me, this information is very, very limited. The stuff that Pierce Island will give you is amazing. It'll give you I was shocked. Such great information. If you're looking to find out stuff about about a property you're interested in, pull up a Pierce Island report, pay the money for it, and just you'll find out, when it was bought, when it was sold, how much the guy paid for it, how many units, what's a vacancy, what's the NOI. These guys show you a whole lot of information about what's going on, right down to the micro market level. That's why I love Pierce Island. Another report that you want to take a look at is the Reese Reports. Now, Reese is kind of like the Cadillac of research reports. Banks use them. Banks will pay big money every quarter or every year to Reese for the market information, the reports that they give, because it is such good information, and they need to use it when they're determining their underwriting guidelines or what their strategy is as a lender. So Reese gives such great information. I know that when I was buying property, the banks would pull up Reese reports on the properties that we were looking at. And that's how they knew, exactly what was going on. So let's take a look again. Let's go back up here to North Carolina. Let's see what they're going to give us for a single metro selection in this particular marketplace. We've got the Asheville marketplace. Yeah, sorry, Bob. See, it's going to ask me for username and password. Reese does that because people pay big money for this. You might be able to get a Reese information. Now, I'll tell you something. I one time went to a RIA club, and this guy said, yeah, I'm very interested in the Dallas-Fort Worth marketplace. He'd never done a deal before, but he said, yeah, I've recently gone out and purchased the Reese Reports for Dallas-Fort Worth. I said, you did? He goes, yeah, I did. I said, wow, you're pretty gung-ho. He says, oh, no, I'm totally focused on Dallas-Fort Worth. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to need this information for when I sit down in front of my, front of my investors. So, oh, yeah, absolutely. Reese is one of the best tools to use out there. It's fantastic. But I think the whole Dallas-Fort Worth marketplace probably set him back about $5,000. So I hope that guy ended up, doing something with his deal. But, you find somebody that has access to a Reese report or any of the Reese reports, see if you can get them to run a report on the marketplace that you're looking at. That information will be absolute gold for you. So that's the thing. I mean, when you're ready, when you're really in this business, or ask your bank for a Reese report on the marketplace, because it is powerful information. All right, let me clear some stuff out of here. Now, one of the other brokerage sites that we can look at is Colliers. Now, the thing about Colliers and the thing about some of these other brokers is that they aren't all specializing in multifamily. We know that Marcus and Millichap really does multifamily, but not all of them do. And Colliers is kind of touch and go. Different offices will have different specialties. A lot of times Colliers specializes in office, Class A office property. So you might not, you might be trying to find a Colliers office in the marketplace that you're looking in, and you find out that they don't have any multifamily for sale. So that's part of the issue with Colliers, but they do have good research information. And you come right up here and you click on the research tab, and here you go, research the market, research our research. It just gives you all the information. I'm just going to kind of scroll through this. Great reports, stuff that you're going to use. Now remember, guys, you can pull it up electronically. You just copy and paste, and this is going to be going into your offering memorandum. Of course, you cite it and you credit it to the person that you took it from, but it's really just a cut and paste job to let your investors understand what see all this great market research. But that is not a substitution for you knowing the market. You've got to know the market cold. You just do. Let's not gloss over this. This is what you need to be doing. All right, that's Colliers. Okay, now take a look at this particular site, HUD.gov. Yeah, all right, but this one is really predominantly for a lot of times for affordable housing. You'll see a lot of that in here. I'm not going to do the data sets. I'm looking at the research and publications. Here are the different places you can find regional market analysis, research partnerships. Let me just click on this. But this HUD.gov also provides you with some very good information. National Housing Market Survey, third quarter 2014. Regional housing and analysis, state, metro, local housing market and data and analysis. Let's go back down to North Carolina because we love Asheville, and we're moving on. Everybody's going to start investing in Asheville. Let's see, and then see here you get down Raleigh, Durham, Asheville, and there's your comprehensive market analysis for Asheville. Doesn't cost you a dime. It's all on HUD.gov. There we go. Yeah, I just got a phone call, guys, just from my daughter, who is out in LA living the life, and she started her internship today. And we were hoping that in this internship, she was hoping to meet her new boss today, but I've heard that he's not in the office. So one of these days, though, he will probably be in the office during her internship, and my daughter will get to meet her new boss, whose name is Tom Hanks. And so my daughter's working at Playtone Productions as her internship. That girl can stick her foot in it and come out smelling like a rose. Analysis of Asheville, North Carolina housing market. Great. As you can see, it's very well up to date. Was Obama even president then? Come on. So this is different markets will probably have much newer information, but this might be able to give you some stuff that you're looking for about the housing market in Asheville or different areas. So that's why we like HUD.gov, because it does give you good stuff, but it might be kind of dated. All right, what else are we going to show you here? Let me just kind of clean out some of this. Okay, so that's HUD.gov. Let me show you this one, the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics. Remember how I told you before that you migrate to those places where people are migrating to because that's where your customers are going? Well, this particular website, bls.gov, this is from the government, Department of Labor shows this information. You can see all this great information. Let me just find the report that I want to show you. Take a look at this. If we go down to data tools, and you click on maps, all right? Now keep in mind, you're putting together a property package, an offering memorandum for your investors. You got to make it look as slick and as glossy as you can. Well, wouldn't it be cool if you come over here to the map section of BLS and you click on the customized maps, and you go right into Asheville, North Carolina. Let's click on. I think it's not going to go. States right here. Wait a minute. Here we go. And where was Charlotte? I was like Mecklenburg. Oh, I can't tell by the counties. Son of a gun. Let's see if it's, no, it's not going to let me do that. We can go by MSAs. Let's go by MSAs. Metropolitan Statistical Areas. Let's see. I was going to say it looks like it jumped to Alabama. North Carolina. Boom. Let's see. All right, here we go again. Raleigh, Cary, Durham. Let's do Durham. And okay, so we come down here, Asheville. So as you can see, what you can do using your, you know, your any type of, you know, copy and paste. You can do a, you know, a shift print screen and then crop these maps. You can use these tables right here. You can grab these tables and go stick them into your offering memorandum. Great information, all cited back to the BLS.gov website, so you look like a genius. But these are places where you can get this type of information that you're going to need in order to make your property package look fantastic. So that is essentially it. If anybody has any questions, fill them in the box right now. If I don't get to them, I'm going to I'll call you or I'll shoot you an email. But that should give you an idea about how we are going to go about getting the market research that we need in order to sell our deal to the sharks and make ourselves look brilliant. All right. So that is that's the extent of it. That's today's group coaching call. And just wait. You saw the updates for the what's going to be happening in February, and you know, you're going to be getting the updates of what's going to be happening in March as well. Keep your eyes peeled for the Owners Forum program that we're going to be offering. I think you'll really like it, and it's going to be a good deal for existing members. I'm not going to ramp up the price until we've worked out the kinks, yeah, you're gonna. I think you're all gonna really like it. And the whole idea here, guys, is I'm trying to kick you in the fanny and get you to make offers so that you can buy property. If you're not making offers, it's just you and me talking, and I don't even hear much out of you. So let's start making offers and make sure that we get this thing moving along in the right direction. You don't want to be that guy when you turn 65 and you start to wonder, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I, you know, buy that property that Charlie told me to buy, you know, 20 years ago? Don't be that guy. Let me help you every step of the way. All right, everybody. Hey, hold on a second. Let me just check. Somebody just said something to me. Okay, Dolores. Oh, okay. Hey, all right, Dolores. Let me check on that and see what the problem is. One of my students here says she hasn't been getting any updates. That's not right. So let me go check on that, Dolores, as soon as I hang up. I'm writing that down right now, and I'll find out why the system is not giving you any updates. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, one of my students has an executed contract. He's saying, read my email from today. I haven't got to emails today because I've been working on all this stuff for the classes for next month. I will get to that, but I'm not leaving the office until I've gone through all my emails, so I will get to that today. And no problem, Dolores. I'm glad I can help. So, okay, everybody, I will talk to you in about a week to 2 weeks. And, you know, in the meantime, for crying out loud, just download a property package and shoot me an email and let's talk about it. I'll show you how to analyze the deals. All right, that's what I'm here for. All right, I had a great time, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks.